Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Tonight, we bring you a different kind of artist. One who makes music, not with sound, but with the brushstroke. One whose art moves like rhythms, whose colors dance like bass lines, and whose message hits like a drum. Welcome to a journey where reggae meets revolution, where strokes of paint tell stories as powerful as any lyric, and where every canvas carries the heartbeat of a people. This is Boss Radio's Reggae Hour podcast with your host, Mr. E. And tonight, family, we are honored to welcome an artistic powerhouse, a visionary whose work bridges the spiritual, the cultural, and the revolutionary, the legendary Ras Silas Motse.
Today, we're covering a different kind of artist, one who makes music with the brushstroke, who commands color and texture the way a maestro conducts a symphony. His work doesn't just sit on a wall, it vibrates, it speaks, it roars like the rhythms of a revolution. From the streets of Thabanchu to international galleries, Ras Silas Motse has turned his art into a movement. He captures emotions in motion, translating the pulse of the people, the echoes of history, and the energy of the now into powerful mixed media pieces that demand your attention. Whether it's murals that breathe life into cityscapes or collaborations with global icons like Lamborghini and Jaguar, Ras Silas paints stories of struggle, triumph, and identity. He's an award-winning artist, a visual griot, a craftsman of feeling. His journey has taken him from a young cartoonist in a small free state town to a fine artist, an educator, and even a facial identification expert for the South African Police Service. But now, his canvas is the world, and his art is his voice. And tonight, he's lending that voice to us. Reggae Hour family, get ready to step into the mind of a true visionary. It's my honor to welcome to the show the one and only Ras Silas Motse. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, my king. I'm doing great. Mr. E, doing great, buddy.
Perfect. Hey, you got the patience of a saint. We've been trying to get you on here and we're trying to work. Things have been messed up on my side, but I want to thank you for thank you for being so patient. And I can see that you got patience also through your artwork. It's so extravagant. And I first got introduced to your artwork with your collaboration with Don Dada on his album. That artwork emerges your visual storytelling with his musical narrative. Now, can you share how this partnership even came about and what it was like to translate his music to a visual form?
Yeah, so for me and Don Dada, we we have known one another for some time now. Of like on the social medias and all of that. I've been always someone that actually liked his style of music. His way of communicating on the music as well. So it's been something that I always really admired. So what happened was that we actually wanted to do something before, but then it didn't happen. And then we spoke about that. Things normally happen at the right time. There's always the right time for everything. Like for instance, this interview, there's supposed to be the right time for it. The universe will channel it into the right day and time. So yeah, so what happened was that we ended up, having to have an opportunity, a break in that where he's going to produce was like, bruh, Ras, I definitely, my king, I do have something that I want you to bring in, that complexity, that rawness, to it. And I was like, you know what, no worries, I will definitely take it on. And that's where he started. And then he sent me the songs, and then let me, explain to me how each and every song is coming from, how, the depth of it, and what happened, when the time when he was recording it or when he was writing it. And for me, I was like, definitely, that's what I always do. That's what I always, every time I start to make any piece of work, I do have like a preliminary studies that I go through, and everything is deep. You know what I mean? So it's everything is a big deal. That's why I normally say. So yeah, so definitely that's what happened. The universe channeled our meeting with the two albums that we produced.
Well, it couldn't have came at a more perfect time. Seeing your artwork on
Yeah,
and
man.
listening to his album, it's like I saw this before I listened to it. It was so on point. Like when you was creating that album artwork, like what tracks did like stuck out to you, if any, that helped you to be able to understand exactly the essence that he was going for in his film, in his album?
What happened was, most of the time what I do is, I was actually running away from that, because mostly artists, what they will do is they will listen to a track and then look at the name of the track and then try to you know meet that track, meet that track on the way. But with me, what happened was that I did not actually listen to the track. I listened to the what the emotion, and the energy, what he was saying on the track, trying to run away from trying to make a copy of a track, just get into the journey of the piece that you were saying, so that I can be able to understand what's happening with the track. And then yeah, so it's for me, it's meditation, my king. You sit down, you know you put in the earsets, no matter, it's either earsets, or maybe I just take play some the speaker, then I just lean back and then just listen to the track, and then let the track to take me to space and then escape me. And then that's when I start when I stand up, then I can just flow with the energy of the track. So it's a bit of that kind of meditation. That's what I do. Yeah. So that's what I did with the tracks of with Dondada.
Oh man, that scene, and I look at your murals. That, and we're gonna look at a couple of your murals later on in the interview. But I'll be looking at your murals, and I'm like, as a person who has created music for a while in my own experience, I can see it's like the musical notes. Do you actually listen to music whenever you paint any of your murals?
Yeah, so for me, that's where it starts. No music, no art. Music is art. So that's where the start of the meditation starts with my work. Because if you look at it, as artist, or let me speak about myself. So when I start to work, my work requires a whole lot of emotional balance to it. If ever something happens in that space and time, I'm going to portray a certain piece. You know what I mean? So every time, whenever I'm in the studio, I need to channel. We call it upahla in our South African languages. Upahla is to like sit down, burn the sage, and then bring in the ancestors to guide you. Because remember, we are not just artists, but then we are a vessel. We are messengers from the other world coming to this side. You know what I mean? So you need to make sure that you are pure whenever you are releasing, or whenever you are communicating, or you are giving the teachings, to the people. So for me, it's always like that. Every time the music is the one that hits a certain notes into my brain, and then it's either I can skank, and then whenever I'm dealing with a certain piece of art, it let it be. You know what I mean? So that's where it starts. The skanking, the music, the rhythm, so that color can come in. So yeah,
Yeah.
so my work is always like that, and people that know me, I think even most of some of my videos on my Instagram, you'll see. when I was painting somewhere, where I'm like, appearing, when I'm painting, I'm dancing, I'm always energetic. I'm a very energetic person, so it goes with the rhythm. As a black man, the rhythm is
Yeah.
always there. So,
Oh yeah, exactly. It's
yeah,
built.
man,
It's like
yeah,
it's
man.
built in our DNA.
Exactly, exactly. So most of the time when I start to paint and then there's no music, my mind, it's I don't want to hear myself, thinking and going in deep with thoughts. You know what I mean? So they need to flow. They need to flow. We've got a lot of things that we are thinking. I don't want to think about when am I gonna buy my electricity. So I don't want to think about that. I want to be in space and time. I want to be in that. So yeah, music, music is art.
Oh yes, it definitely is. The way you make it happen is visual, so you can see it in motion. So with that being said, we got to figure out what it is about Ras Silas that got him into the mentality and the personality that helps bring out this beautiful artwork that we get to see. Now you speak about growing up in your childhood in Tabanchu and how growing up there shaped your artistic journey. Now, can you share like a defining moment or a memory that you may have from a time that solidified you as an artist?
So Ras Silas Motse.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at chumbacasino.com. That's chumbacasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void were prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
Born and bred in Tabanchu, Motlatla location, Sukoti Mpate. You know, for me, art saved me. How do I say saved me? I'm talking about, it was that one thing that whenever, when everything failed, it was that one thing that didn't fail me. You know what I mean? So I started as a cartoonist. Most of the time, I used to draw, some of my bullies at school and also get in trouble again. I used to draw like, those ugly cartoons and trying to portray them in a certain way, trying to get back to them,
Yeah, that's a good way to
and
fight them back.
you know what I mean? I was very tiny when I was growing up, so I had to like find ammunition so that I can fight back. So yeah, so it was all that kind of situation, and most of the time I used to use art also, to paint or to draw, other kids' file dividers. When they need a file divider, I'll divide the files in a very nice way, and then they give me some food. So because I grew up as an orphan, you know what I mean. So that that mentality, gave me more desire and also more drive for me to to hustle and to make something out of whatever that I what I have. So yeah, so and then later on, I started discovering that art lives in me because my all of whatever that I was doing at school and primary and all those cartoons and everything. So later when I discovered that, I know I am absolutely artistic, so I started elevating and started joining a local group. We started making some sculptures, carving some wood, selling stuff in around the village, and then I went to varsity, and the rest was history. After that, I just couldn't want to get out of the campus. I just wanted to paint. Just whatever, whenever I see color, whenever I see, the sky, whenever I see, people, I just want to make something out of it.
Man, you've come a long way too. I mean, you started off as an orphan, and from an orphan, you've put on many, many hats. I mean, you've been an educator, a facial identification expert for the South African Police Service. I mean, you're probably the only person I've ever met that has that title. Now, before becoming a
I
full-time
I know.
artist, I
I was saying
that
I know, but if I can write a book, most of people, most of my friends were like, "Bro, just write a book, just write a book."
yeah, I mean, like you done it so much. How do these roles influence your approach to storytelling and how you paint?
for me, for me, my art represents what's happening in space and time. The experience. You cannot take away that. And I think once you as an artist, you tell a story of what's happening in space and time, you'll never run away from your niche. You know what I mean? So because wherever I am, the vibrations that I'm speaking, I'm putting that into canvas. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, um, I was growing up. I used to move from one place to another, making friends. Meeting new people, pushing boundaries, seeing what I can do. So all of that, I started understanding that okay, I'm actually, like how can I say it? Like I'm like a sponge. I just go around and I just like absorb all this knowledge and everything. So now it started for me to be like, okay, let me just give it out. Once I get it, give it out. Once I get it, give it out. So that's how it influenced my artistic synopsis to what this geometry. I call it African geometry. So it's something that is not on the book, but it's something that I just come up with it. I was like, it's called African geometry because for me it means experiences, what I feel, what I see, who I meet in space and time. You know what I mean? So it differs. If I go to Germany, it adapts whatever that I see around the landscape, the colors, the texture. So yeah, so I think in space and time influence me.
Okay. Yeah, and you have done, like you said, you get to somewhere and you adapt really quickly to it. It's like every piece of art
Absolutely, quickly.
is, yeah, it's like a different story that tells about that time and space. I was looking at when you collaborated with organizations like Breadline Africa and Viva, I'm probably saying it wrong, Conagua, but
Yeah, you're
you
clever.
often, okay, perfect. Often you was often creating art with like a social impact. Now, what role does community engagement play in your creative process?
Yeah, so I think for me, like I mentioned, I think I did mention it, but indirectly, my work it's not the work of myself for myself. It's the work that things that I see, from the ancestors that is passed through, to the people. It's more like healing. You know what I mean? So for me, working with the community, engaging with the community, a lot of people, they get to heal. I get to meet people personally who has a certain story, and then all the time it happens when I'm on a wall, when I'm painting and I'm painting with people, and they now start to tell me about I'm going through this, I'm going through that, and they get healing through that process of waking. You know what I mean? And also one thing that I love about working with the community is that I'm you know, advocating for the pride of the community. As an artist, we all know that we are not, our own voices, only, but we are the voice of the community. So that is actually what gives me the fuel to push forward, to know that I'm doing something positive. I'm solving a societal issue out there. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, you are very into actually giving back. I mean, you've tackled certain issues like water scarcity and plastic pollution. How do you balance the need to advocate for change with your own artistic voice and vision?
Um, so for me, my work, I think, let me just try to answer that. I don't know, you let me know if I did answer you.
Okay.
But for me, for me, my artistic, appetite, or I can say my artistic vision is, it's all about color. It's all about uniting everyone. It's all about positivity. The colors. We look at my work and then you get revived out of that. So me fitting with organizations that advocate for the betterment of the universe, the planet, it's actually fusing with my work. You know what I mean? So it's easy for me to work with people that are advocating for those, because I'm seeing positivity. Every time I stand outside, and when I walk, when I go around, I just want to spread positive vibrations.
Yes, you definitely answered it right. I mean, not right, but you answered it straight on because I mean, as an artist, you draw your influence from things in around you. And of course, you will want to draw positive influence. When you look around, you want to paint beauty. You don't want to have to paint destruction. You don't want to have to paint something that people don't want to or uncomfortable looking at. So, but you navigating all of this success that you're getting, like with the People's Choice at the State of Art Gallery and the brand collaborations with Lamborghini and Jaguar. How do you stay grounded and connected to your roots as an artist?
As an artist, I always make it out loud and clear. Whoever that is coming to Ras is coming to get African geometry. If it's not African geometry, I am not giving you any of my signature. You know what I mean? I'm not signing anything because African geometry, it's an identity that I am pushing to advocate for change, for good, for betterment, and to remind an African child that you are an African child and you are important and you are who you are and you must stand firm for who you are. I remember when I was growing up as an artist, I used to, jump from theme to theme, trying to figure out myself. After I found myself, and I now started realizing that, people who, if they don't want to come to me and get my work, they would rather go to the next person because I'm not going to change because of someone is looking for something different. You know what I mean? So ever since I've actually, shifted my mind into that direction, I've started seeing people, appreciating myself, appreciating me for who I am. You know what I mean? So I think also mostly people that are psychologists will tell you that once you believe in yourself, people will start to believe in you. So you need to stand firm and believe in yourself and set a tone that this is what I stand for and then this is what I'm going to go for.
I hear you on that one. I hear you. Everybody got to have their standards. I mean, if you want me to be like like you said, if you want me to be like the next guy, just go get the next guy. You know what I'm saying? And you bring something very unique to the table with African geometry. Like, tell me, like, how do you see African geometry fitting into the future of art, such as art history or art education, art literature? How do you see that portraying out?
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, for me, that's a very heavy question. It's actually making me emotional. I've been seeing African geometry as a movement. You know what I mean? I've been seeing it as something that is bigger than me. Not to say, okay, this is my signature. This is what I've discovered myself. So I only want to paint like this until I die. No one else must paint like this. So for me, I've seen it as something that influences people. It's something that makes volume in the contemporary setting. Something that is not a literal, representation of artwork. Mostly people will just say, okay, I'm gonna draw a person with paws and exactly the way they are. But with an African geometry, I love to bring a twist of irony, a twist of escape to it. Someone must come in and look at the piece and interpret it in their own way. We how can I say it? I used to, let me speak for myself. I used to actually get tired of reading books of art and hearing, okay, this artist did this and this and this because of this and this and this. He was angry, he was devastated and stuff like that. So I actually don't buy that. You know what I mean? I'm like, people are going through a lot. Each and every one of us are going through a lot. Just rather create something that will make someone to interpret it in their own way and solve their problems with your piece of art. You know what I mean? So I think for me, seeing African geometry in this contemporary city, I'm seeing it as a piece of medication. As a scientist, I've got medication and I'm giving it to people so that they can take it and use it for themselves. You know what I mean? So that's how I want to see it. Like if you look at old masters. Like if you look at the Renaissance, you look at postmodern art, you cannot use those things now at this contemporary stage because of they are not fitting. So I'm looking for something that will fit for a lifetime.
And I see it, man. You stuck on walls. It's going to be there for a lot longer than a lifetime. You know, these murals are very,
Yes, ma'am.
very beautiful. And we actually are about to get to the point where I want to let's start looking at a few of them. And I just put your Instagram for all my all the watchers right now. Just put the Instagram up there for Ras Silas, so you can definitely go and look at his art as we are going to be looking at it. But I do want to say before we jump on there, I'm actually in college right now taking a literature class, and they were discussing art theft and how those daring souls who dared to snatch a masterpiece could never sell the paintings for more than 10% because it was a stolen item. So I'm always joking and I say, imagine that, to steal a painting just to sell it for only 10% of its actual value. The thief got robbed, if you ask me. Now, all jokes aside, how would you feel if one of your pieces was stolen and sold for only 10% of its value?
You know what I'm gonna do? Wow. I will absolutely laugh because once you take in something, it's for instance, if you go to a sangoma, ne? If you go to a sangoma and in the sangoma, um, um, run a consultation with you, and then that's the first scenario. The second scenario, you go to the sangoma's uh, like help, like that small house that they normally go in and then they do their things. You go in there and you steal the medication and you leave. That medication is not gonna work for you. It's not gonna have any value once you take it without any consultation with who is supposed to give you that medication. You understand what I mean? So for me,
Oh,
I
yeah.
wouldn't mind seeing that. I would say that, yeah, that's what you get because of there's no that thing on that artwork. It needs me to like ignite that.
Yeah. It's like a punch in the gut.
Yeah, take that, sucker.
And the art is still beautiful. It still got your name on it. So
Oh, now that's another story because you wouldn't know the story behind it. But what makes an art is the story behind it. You know, what it went through, where, how, who bought it, where did you get it, what happened, the connection that you get when you are going to buy the art. Also, it tells a very, very, very important story. That's why most of the time I never wanted to be represented by any gallery because you are selling my work to someone that doesn't know me, that
right.
he's not even relating to me. He doesn't even know anything about me. But the people that are buying art from me personally, they've got a reason to keep the art.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Just because of they met me, we spoke about it. I, break down everything about the piece, and they got to shake my hand and say like, Ras, wow, this piece, and I had to, I got to smile when I was giving them the art. So it's a different situation. So you get that artwork, you sell that artwork for 10% of its value, and whoever that is getting the money, you deserve it because of the Ras was not there to hand.
Yeah. It's the personal touch that gives it the 100%.
Personal touch, my king. Like most of people that most of my collectors, they normally come back to my DMs. They're like, I remember the first time when I met you, when you were selling me this piece. Oh, it's beautiful. I still have this piece. And then they take pictures and then they send me. You see, that whole experience of them meeting me and buying from me, it gives you that. It's like, for instance, whenever you are buying your pairs of Jordans, if you buy your pair of Jordans outside on the street, how are you going to feel? between buying it from the street and buying it inside the shop. There's a different feeling there. When you go inside the Nike, you're like, bruh, come from Nike.
When you get it off the side of the road, you don't even want to tell nobody.
Yeah, it's like, I got it on the side. You don't even want to tell where you got it.
You start lying like, yeah, I got these for Foot Locker. So you right about that. You show right about it. It's all value in how you acquired the piece, not just necessarily, oh, I have it. And that's why the art market, the black market, is only given 10% for these valuable arts. So you have a real good point there. When you got these upcoming artists that are trying to get into the industry, like, because we already know most people who create art don't really get discovered or get their value seen for a long time before they actually get noticed. What kind of advice would you give to aspiring artists who navigate the challenges of the art world?
One thing that I can say is that Don Dada also said it on one of his albums. There was a song called Rise Up. You know what I mean?
Heart of a lion, 'cause we're in the jungle. Born in a fire, so one that take place. La la la. Mama would say, son, always be humble. Oh my son. And always remember to give Jah his praise. La.
What I will tell you is that get up, rise up, go get it. There's nothing that's gonna work while you're still busy scrolling, trying to find inspiration, worrying and looking at other people, feeling envying other people's work and movements and achievements and stuff like that. Put the phone down, put everything down, get up, take things, experiment, work, figure out yourself, build routines, have healthy, routines and experiment, meet people, ask questions, make connections, don't sit, talk, you know what I mean? I know also it wasn't easy for me to, to rise up and talk about my work and, in the front of people and you say, okay, my name is Raz and this is what I do. It was hard, you know what I mean? Because we always classify artists as we are so reserved. We're like, sitting there, we don't want to talk about your work, and then you put in your head like this in your face. It's not going to work for you. As an artist, you need to know that you are selling your commodity. Besides all the things that I've mentioned about art, at the end of the day, you are making a living out of your art. It's a commodity. Make sure that you can be able to sell what you have. You know what I mean? So once you treat your art as a commodity and you must be a spokesperson of it, then we'll see things will change. You know what I mean? You'll be able to, to gain, what do you call it? Respect for it because of your speaking on behalf of it. You are telling a story. It's like I'm telling a story of someone else. That's why normally most of the time when I start, I will say, Ras Silas Motse is this and this. And it's like I'm telling a story of someone. It lowers down the pressure on me. You know what I mean? So I think for me, it's all about that. Know how to run yourself as an artist, make connection, speak to people, experiment. Don't replicate things. That's the most important thing. Never replicate. Find your own voice. You have never heard Chris Brown trying to sing like whoever. You need to sing like your own. Don Dada sing like himself. He doesn't sing like Dube. He doesn't sing like whoever. He sing, you master that. You master who you are, what you have been given. Look at how other artists have done it and then try to look at yours and then find a way. You know what I mean? So I remember the time when I was in Connecticut, I met some of. I was at the Yale University. I was visiting that site for some time, and then we did I did a lecture for a township art in South Africa. So what happened was that we learned that identity and knowing yourself and not discarding that is very important. You must not feel ashamed of who you are, what happened. Use that to fuel you because of out there are people that are taking your experiences as a big deal and they want to learn. That's what I experienced when I was in the Connecticut. I was like, what? People are actually like, they were asking, what happened to the township movement, this and this. I was like, what? Something that we just take it lightly. You know what I mean? So the moral of the story is that whatever that you're going through, learn about it, know it, and stand for it, and never forget it, and move it forward, and use it to your advantage.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful advice. I couldn't. I ain't got no notes. No notes, but you're correct. So many people out here using your experiences to get up, and you can't even use your experiences to get up. So until you decide to get off your butt and start working towards that goal, you're not. It's just going to be a dream. So I love that advice, man. That's going to be the keynote of this interview.
Give thanks, my king. Give thanks, and bringing back the memories. If you can look at his album, the reggae version, where he brought back the memories and credit of the old timers. It's so important to bring back things like that. They make whatever that you are working with. It gives it a volume to always say that, okay, I know this, I know that, and then I use it. Come up with something new. It's always beautiful.
Oh, it definitely is. It definitely is. And speaking of beautiful, yeah. But speaking of beautiful, we got to look at some of your artwork, man. We got to dive into it. I want to know what your mind space was at. What was your inspiration for these individual pieces? So we're going to be going over to your Instagram. So anybody who's listening to this on your favorite streaming service, whether it's iHeart, iTunes, Amazon, MP3, Apple Podcasts, whatever you're listening to that's all audio, go into the description, click that Instagram link so that you could go and look at this beautiful artwork that we're about to discover. And if you want to continue to hear his answers to these questions about this artwork, find us on YouTube. It's at BOSS Radio or Reggae Hour, either or, and go ahead and watch the rest of this interview. But right now, we're going to take a small break, and then when we come back, we're going to get on. We're going to get on with his wonderful paintings, man. Let's check it out.
Yep.
Already, welcome back. This is Reggae Hour and Revolutionary Hour, where we having a great interview with Ras Silas, the artist that has turned music into so much visual aspiration that your mind will engulf the knowledge that has been given to you if you just look at this painting one time. And guess what? We're about to check out most of his artwork on Instagram. So like I said, if you want to go follow him, hit that Instagram link in the description. But until then, let's go ahead and get on. So I'm seeing a staircase right here. Now, I see something like that, something sort of like that here in the city that I'm in, but it ain't nowhere near extravagant as this. So tell me, what is this? Where is this? And how did you come up with it?
So this was collaboration between me and Viva Conakwa Hamburg. I was in Germany, in Hamburg when I was painting this. So they had they were opening their building. They were building a whole big headquarters of Viva Conakwa, and then each and every level and room has art from different artists around the world. So I was also one of the the people that were privileged to be called by Benjamin to like, hi Ras, come in and we need some African geometry here in Hamburg. And then I was invited. So as you can see, when you walk in, this is like walking into floor 8, and that's what you see when you turn around until you get inside the room. So so the piece was all about Viva Conakwa, that art creates water creates art. So they are all about advocating for water. So African geometry here came in to tell a story, but also telling a story from my perspective as well.
And it doesn't stop there either. This is a much larger view of it, correct?
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Yes, this is a much better. This is the bigger. This is how when you walk in, you see that part, and then you come in here. So it's like a story. You follow in the artwork. It's you press, you'll see it goes further, further, further until you get into the room.
Wow. I mean, it's like, and that looks like a hand.
Yeah, it's leading you down to the room now. Yeah.
If you don't know where to go, just look around.
As you can see here, I was using a theme of, paper boats. Those paper boats. When we were younger, we used to play with the paper boats in the water. You just make a boat, and then you push the water so that the boat can go. So you see how my experience and water and Viva Conakry is coming in.
Yes, that is beautiful. This is a great way to turn your actual life into art. For people who think that their life isn't worth anything, you can take this inspiration from this art right here. Now, here's a door. I guess this leads to an apartment.
Yeah. So they have. I think it's about 25 floors. I'm not sure about the floors, but then they quite a tall building, and then they had different floors, and then they like rooms. People rent out those rooms. You come in, and it's like a B&B. So this one is specialized with African geometry. So you go in. I also painted the doors a bit extra there. So
right.
You go in. I didn't want to see any part of wall. I didn't want to see a wall. I just wanted to paint everything.
Yes, because I mean, and how long did it take you to complete this project?
It's actually it took me 5 days, a week.
A week to do all of this?
My king, I finished that in day 3. I was already about to finish. I had to slow down because I was thinking too much, and I was like, "Can you please give me another room?" But was another room, another money.
Exactly. Oh, look at this one. This is beautiful. Is that a rosary on someone's face?
Yeah, those are beads. So there was this other guy in South Africa that his name is Voyo. He's a photographer. So he did the piece like that. It's one of his photographs, and then I spoke to him, and then I asked him if I can use one of the pieces, because normally what I see is sometimes I come up with visions in my head, and then when I scroll on social media and I see something that I actually dreamt about, then I use that one of his work to turn it into a mural.
Oh man, that is beautiful. And the realism, it's like you actually had the young girl there while you was drawing her. This is amazing. So this is in Hamburg, Germany.
Yeah, there's a Hamburg in Germany.
And this is the Lamborghini collaboration that you was in, this video right here?
Yeah. This is the Lamborghini collaboration. I was doing a collaboration with Lamborghini for their 60th anniversary, where they wanted, someone to celebrate Lamborghini from an African perspective. So that's what I gave them. I had to sit down and look at it and read more about Lamborghini. Then I know very well that Lamborghini from now on, the next thing that they're doing is, I'm telling you, they are going to be manufacturing some spaceships, because they already have a boat. They are like they are what do you call it? Creativity always goes up. They are not stationary. They are always making the bigger, the better, the craziest, the dopest. Yeah. So for me, I was showing them, bring in culture, how we preserve culture, but how we are moving into the contemporary world, but we are also going through that while we preserve nature and we preserve culture. That's why you can see that guardian representing culture, holding the stick is like a master. What do you call it? That master from Dragon Ball Z, what do you call him? Master Roshi. So that's how it is.
Master Roshi. And I'm seeing like it looks like with the master in the back with the cane and all. That's like retro or past, sort of like past with the wizardry and stuff like that. But then you go up to the spaceship, that's like futuristic. So it's almost like the past is guiding us into the future. Like, well, at least that's my interpretation.
Yeah, definitely. I love that interpretation. It makes sense. You know, it's Afrofuturistic. You know, it's all about, you know, guidance. It's all about we are guiding through, you know, with so much knowledge that we have, we're going through that journey into the future together, not forgetting. Because if you look at it, every car, every Lamborghini car, it has that you know, classical mastership on it. You know, it's, you know, from what the ancient ones to the newest ones now, they still hanging on to that, you know, old kind of touch to everything.
Yeah, exactly. And I could see it in the spaceship. It looks just like it was, if it was a Lamborghini spaceship, that was exactly what it would look like. How, how did you get that concept of making the Lamborghini, the spaceship, like, how did you formulate that? I mean, I could see African geometry all over it, but what vision did you have when you came up with that?
Yeah, because for me, I already have a series that I called a Breadwinner. A Breadwinner series is a series where, you know, I've incorporated wheelbarrows into my work, you know, giving that kind of, you know, hard work, you know, perseverance, you know, you name them, into someone that is actually a breadwinner for your family. So for me, that was not a problem when I had to change the wheelbarrow to a Lambo barrow, you know, Lamborghini wheelbarrow, something like that. So it was not a problem because, but also now the spaceships also, some of my work, if you look at it, I also have that futuristic one. So I had to like just, you know, play around with it and then just look at the car, change it around and play around with it.
This one right here, I am speechless when I look at this one. It's like a life, it's a grander than life size Lucky Doobie. How, like, what? I don't know. I don't even know the question to ask right now because it's so. Let's start off with first. How was you able to complete that?
So first of all, this wall was a collaboration between me and Downtown Music Hub. Downtown Music Hub is a recording station, big in Africa, big in South Africa. The legends of music have recorded there. The like of Michael Jackson have recorded in the Downtown Music Hub. Lucky Dube has recorded in Downtown Music Hub. So it's a very big. You know, people can research about it. Downtown Music Hub is very big. So what happened is that Downtown Music Hub, they have approached me because of they wanted to work on a what do you call it, on a project where they want to paint all the walls around Downtown Music Hub precinct and they wanted to turn the whole Downtown Music Hub into a precinct. So they want to be painting. Even if you can see the wall next to it, you also need to paint that wall. So each and every wall around the Downtown Music Hub is going to be dedicated to a musician. So what we did is we sat together and we applied for a funding. And then we got the funding from NEC. Thank you so much. They gave us the funding, and then we carried on, you know, painting like it. Started deciding to paint it like it would be. It was actually supposed to be 3 walls, but then we had to start with the first one because it was quite big. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's what happened, and we decided to paint like it would be. We spoke to the family. The family gave us the blessings of to paint it lucky, and then that's what it happened. And it happened. And what a beautiful production, my king.
Yes.
You know, from me meditating on the wall, feeling the energy of Lucky, reading stories about what Lucky has done, knowing the music of Lucky Dube, growing up listening to Lucky Dube, painting that wall, I feel like I was carried. He carried me like this to each and every part of his body when I was painting it. Each and every strain of his dreadlocks when I was painting them. It's like I was given superpowers. We finished that wall in 2 weeks. It was 6 to 6. We get 6 in the morning. We finish 6 late afternoon when the sun set. You know what I mean? I had a team of 2 assistants that were assisting me, that are young and upcoming artists that I'm putting them on, you know, how to paint and stuff like that. So they would, you know, give me a can when I need a can, you know, when I say, okay, paint there, and then they will paint there. But It was absolutely stunning. It was hot in Joburg. King, it was not easy with this wall, but the process of it, it was everything. It was fulfilling. It was beautiful. People seeing you like Dube. People were like, hey, that's like Dube. Hey, wow, Ras. You know what I mean? The process where how people were, chanting, people were, how can I say it? Shouting down there because of this wall is actually on top of another building. So it's a building on top of a building. So the wall is big. It's like it's huge. When I was up there with the cherry picker, people were shouting down there like, "That's like Dube." Do you know what like Dube did? What like Dube did? What stuff like that. When I go down and then people start telling me stories about like Dube, giving more insight. Some people they were like, I once met like Dube in person. It was beautiful to see how the energy brought in everyone close together, which is exactly what Lucky Dube was actually advocating for: peace, community, love. Long live.
Yes, I mean, like he was able to bring people together with his musical band, and you was his one-man band for this art piece that brings people together every time they ride past it, every time they look out their windows, every time they get out their car and go into a building around this place, they're gonna always see this and remember what he stands for, and it's all because of you. Like, that is amazing and uplifting and inspiring in itself, and just this one piece of art. So, like, I guess the last question I have for you is, you've given so much to the world. What can we give to you?
Oh, my king. I actually feel like I haven't give anything to the world. If I gave something to the world, I only gave 5% of me. I feel like I haven't done anything, King. Honestly speaking, there's a whole lot more that I can do, that I can give. You know what I mean? So what I'm hoping is that, I hope that I can get more platforms. I can get even more bigger platforms. When I say big, I'm saying that far away where people cannot reach, for me to be able to give them, art. You know what I mean? So that's all I can say. I've run out of words.
Hey, and for somebody who is known for leaving people speechless, that says a lot.
Well, thank you so much, my king.
Oh, anytime. It was a blessing having you on, man. Absolute pleasure to hear your story and dive into the actual soul of your art. Man, thank you for sharing your time and your insights with us. And what a powerful conversation with the visionary himself, Ras Silas Motse. From the streets of Thabangchu to murals that speak across continents, he's proven that art isn't just seen, it's felt, it's lived, it's revolutionary. If tonight's discussion moved you, inspired you, or made you see the world through a different lens, don't stop here. Follow Ras Silas on all platforms. Stay locked into his journey and witness the evolution of an artist who turns emotion into masterpiece. And of course, keep vibing with us here on Reggae Hour Podcast. Tap the link below to follow, subscribe, stream on iHeart and all major platforms, because this is where the culture lives, where the voices rise, and where the revolution is always in motion. Big respect to you, Ras Silas, for blessing us with your presence, and to you listeners for tuning in. Until next time, y'all stay inspired and keep the fire blazing. One love.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.